Hello and welcome to Zig Wheels, and here are our first impressions of the Hero Destini 125. Now the scooter might look familiar because it was shown off at Auto Expo 2018 as the Duet 125, but it was launched today here in Delhi as the Destini. Now Hero is pitching the Destini as a family scooter, so it goes up against the likes of the Honda Activa 125 and the Access 125 from Suzuki. So before we go any further, let's take a quick look at the mechanicals of the scooter, starting with that engine. Now this engine, it's a 125cc engine. It's been derived from that of the Duet 110. However, there have been quite a few changes made. So now it makes about 8.8 PS of power and 10.2 Newton meters of torque, which puts it at par with other family scooters like the Access or the Activa, but then it does make a little bit more power in that category. In terms of suspension, it's got telescopic forks up at the front, and it's got a monoshock back in there, but you really can't see it from here. And in terms of braking hardware, it gets a drum at the front, a drum at the back, and it gets combined brakes as standard. There's no disc brake even as an option. Now, one thing that Hero is really harping on about this scooter is the I3S technology, or the idle start-stop system. Now, we've seen this system before on Hero smaller motorcycles such as the Splendor iSmart. It's now made its way to scooters. This is the first scooter in India which has got start-stop. So how it works is, if you have the I3S system on, and if you come to a stop, say at a signal or anywhere, with the throttle off, the scooter will turn itself off in about 5 seconds. To restart, all you do is grab either brake and just go on the throttle, and the scooter will restart. Now, it's not saving too much effort in terms of starting the scooter because you also have the starter button right there. However, because it gets the engine by itself, you are saving on fuel. And Hero claims that they've seen about a 10% increase in efficiency thanks to the I3S system. Now, talking about the design of the scooter, it does share a few panels with the Duet 110, but there are some changes, especially at the front apron, because you get these massive indicators up there, and there's lots of room, especially at the front. And the theme of this large sort of indicators also carries over to the back, where you can see these massive ones right here. Now, the Destini doesn't have any LED lights whatsoever. It's all using standard bulbs across the board, and that is in a bit to sort of keep the costs down. And then coming to the seat itself, again, since it's a family scooter, the seat is quite large, and I must say it's quite comfortable. And even the floorboard, there's a fair amount of space on here. One thing we like about this scooter a lot is the riding position. Now, I can't show that to you from here, but the floorboard is quite low. In fact, much lower than that on the Access, and the handlebars are quite high as well. So when you're sitting, your knees don't go up. Your knees are pretty much flat, and the handlebars, even by taking a tight U-turn, will not meet your thighs or your knees, which is, I think, a very sort of good thing to have on a scooter like this. And the seat itself, again, very comfortable for both rider and for the pillion. In terms of its ride quality, well, we found the front to be on the stiffer side a little bit. Now, let me just explain. This is not a full-blown first ride review, because we got the scooter only for about half an hour to ride around the hotel. And first impressions, ride quality is quite well balanced. The front is a bit on the stiffer side. The rear feels more plush for sure, but with a pillion, the rear gets softer. However, over some sharp bumps, you do get a bit of wallow at the back with a pillion on board. If you're riding solo, is just fine, but overall, that rear wallow also isn't too bad. It's definitely a lot better than something like the Honda Grazia. However, in terms of the segment benchmark, in terms of ride quality, I think that has to be the Access. Of course, that's if you discount the TVS NTORQ. And well, Hero has pretty much filled the scooter up with a fair amount of features as well. Now, you get a semi-digital instrument console up here. So you have an analog speedo and this little digital cluster right here, which shows you a digital fuel gauge, an odometer, and a trip meter. And it's also got a service indicator that shows up on that. But that's pretty much it. No clock, nothing else. So yeah, it's pretty alright. And even looks wise, when it's quite large, it's very easy to read. but it's not going to win any awards in terms of, say, design. Now, one thing we will say that we like about the scooter is it's got the external fuel filler cap, but the beauty is that you can access both the fuel filler cap and the underseat storage with just the key. So if you turn it to the left, it unlocks the seat, and if you push it in and you turn it to the right, it pops the fuel filler open. Now, in terms of underseat storage though, yes, that's not really too much. Now, Hero hasn't given us any numbers, but just after a visual inspection, I'll guess about 15-16 liters, because compared to something like, say, the Access, this is definitely a lot smaller. However, it does have some good features in here, which is a boot light right there, and of course you have this, oh, this just came off, this USB charger for your mobile phone. But of course, now these features are only available in this variant. Now the scooter has been launched in two variants, the VX and the LX. The VX is the top end variant. Now that gets that boot light, it gets the charger, it also gets this sort of dual texture seat, and it gets all this extra chrome at the front and the sides. And of course the wheels, these are alloy wheels which are only there on the VX variant. The VX variant is available at rupees 57,500 ex showroom Delhi. The base variant, the LX, now that we didn't ride, that comes with steel wheels at the front. It doesn't get all this chrome, and it doesn't get the boot light, nor does it get the charger in the boot. So that's launched at rupees 54,650 ex showroom Delhi. Now, just quickly touching on performance, again, we didn't get a chance to ride the scooter, like thoroughly test it, but it seems to have adequate mid-range grunt to sort of handle most traffic situations, and even riding 2 up, it did move fairly easily. So from sort of 0 to 60, it does pull pretty well, and even up to 80, it's not too bad. But of course, beyond that, it does start to lose a bit of steam. But anyway, guys, that's about it. Those are our first impressions of the Destini 125. We will have a full-blown road test and a comparison of the scooter going out soon when we get the scooter for a full test in Pune. But as for now, do let us know what you think of this scooter in our comments. Do you think Hero has done enough to make a mark in this segment, or do you think that you'd rather wait for something like the Maestro Edge 125, which will offer, say, more performance, better handling, and also of course a disc brake at the front? So that's it, guys, signing off from Delhi with the Destini 125. See you.